Yes, the national game is one of our great escapes, and we will escape into the drama of this football match for the next couple of hours here on TalkSport, mindful that the 3 points are not as important as life itself. Manchester on Merseyside, always lively. Two cities 35 miles apart, same corner of the map, but very, very different. I've worked in both, lived near to both. They've never really got on. The football rivalries have somehow embodied the antagonism, and City versus Liverpool is the new United versus Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp's team, of course, are not here. They're at Wembley tomorrow, but he and every Mersey Red will stop what they're doing and dreaming to keep an eye and an ear across this match first. I've stopped short of saying every Liverpool fan is an Everton fan for the next couple of hours. It doesn't work like that here. And Everton have got a million reasons of their own for wanting to beat Manchester City this evening. The needs of both of these two teams are as obvious as they are different. There are three very big points at stake. City have been relegated 6 times since Everton last went down. Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Spurs, they've all slipped out of the top flight since Everton were last relegated. No fewer than 68 successive seasons in the top bracket of English football. That's what's at stake. Just a couple of years before they move to their state-of-the-art new stadium on the banks of the Royal Blue Mersey. It is a critical moment, not just in Everton's season, but in Everton's history too. The two Ukrainians in the matchday squads remind us that there are much bigger things than football matches happening, and the pre-match taking of the knee just serves to emphasise that fact here again. The new manager Bounce has bounced Everton to 2 thumping home wins since Frank Lampard walked through the door 25 days ago. No team in the Premier League has won a greater share of its points at its home ground than Everton so far this season, and Trevor Sinclair, this is where the threat of relegation has got to be met.
It has, and 1 point above the relegation zone. Fortunately as well, because if Burnley would have got 3 points, they would have left Everton in that bottom 3, and almost unimaginable for the quality of players that this club has got at its disposal. But it's not gone well this season, and you probably couldn't face a worse rival than Manchester City, coming off the back of that loss last week against Tottenham. But that's the challenge they have ahead, and that's the challenge they have to meet head on today.
Both teams in blue. Everton in their traditional royal blue shirts, white shorts and white socks. Manchester City have got about 53 different away kits, are wearing their home strip. They're in all sky blue. They are playing from right to left as we look at it from our position in the antique Goodison main stand, playing towards the Gladys Street end of this famous stadium, for those of you who know it. And in possession is their left back João Cancelo, about 20 metres inside his own half. Back to Ruben Dias. Everton are playing essentially 4-5-1 from the outset, with Iwobi wide on the right, Gordon wide on the left, and then Doucouré, Allen and Van der Beek as conventional midfield players. Looks like Bernardo Silva is again the so-called false number 9 for Manchester City, whose goalkeeper Edison is in possession. So I'll quickly run you through the teams now they have lined up. Edison in goal, back 4 of Stones at right back, Diaz, Laporte and Cancelo. Then a midfield from right to left of De Bruyne, Rodri and Gundogan, and then a front 3 of Foden on the right, Sterling on the left and Bernardo Silva kind of in the middle. It's Foden in possession, cutting in from the right hand side and winning a free kick from Anthony Gordon. Everton with Pickford in goal, Coleman, Holgate, Keane and Kenny at left back. Then that midfield configuration I told you about, with Allen joined by Van der Beek and Doucouré, Iwobi and Gordon wide and Richarlison up front. Here comes the Manchester City free kick, which is about 20 metres outside of the Everton penalty area, right of centre as they look at. It's a crossing position rather than a shooting position for either the left foot of Foden or it's going to be the right foot of De Bruyne, and it's in towards the head of Laporte. Somebody went down inside the penalty area. Nothing has actually been given by our on the field referee Paul Tierney, other than a goal kick, I believe.
Yeah, I think Holgate and Bernardo looks like he's come off that collision worse, looks to be in a little bit of discomfort, but I think it's a good start for Manchester City. They've just took the sting out of what could have been an incredibly emotional start to this match and just took the sting out of the game, and I think that suits them better than Everton. Everton need to get physical in this game, need to get in contact, need to let their physicality be felt by Manchester City, or else if you're looking at both sets of players, you'd say Manchester City are massive favourites.
Manchester City's title stride broken by Tottenham last Saturday at this time. Everton giving up possession to De Bruyne just outside the penalty area, found by Sterling but chased away by Keane. Their first defeat in 16 league games since the end of October. That you have to go back to August for City's last away defeat, which was at Tottenham, strangely. And you know, I think it's fair to say, Trevor, they played a lot of their most majestic and controlled football on their travels during this title defence. Yeah,
because I think there's a little bit more adventure from the home side when they play against Manchester City at home, but when Manchester City are at home, they usually go to a revert back to a kind of deep block, let Manchester City dictate play.
Here's Sterling getting in behind Everton on the Manchester City left into the penalty area. His cross is cleared by Kenny. Rodri has a pot shot with his unfavoured left foot, which is of no consequence, and then Foden fouls Gordon as they chase out towards the corner flag, and that's a free kick for Everton down by the corner flag on their left-hand side.
Is there a little bit of something between them two? Because that was very unlike Phil Foden there. He had no chance of getting the ball. It looked like Gordon was going to let the ball run out of play for a throw-in, and Foden just, without trying to disguise it, just pushed him over from behind.
The answer's yes. One's a Scouser and the other's a Mancunian. Too many times this season when Everton just haven't got started. Only 8 first half goals to date. City scored 30, 12 in the first 15 minutes. And this is one of those grounds where you expect the home team to start fast, to rush you, to run you back to your own goal. Frank Lampard is set on building a team to pass and play more. And this is surely the sternest test of those ambitions, because Manchester City can take a game away from you before it's begun if you're not careful. And they have made the more assertive start here. But Everton do have a throw-in just inside City territory on the Everton left. John Joe Kenny, right-footed left back, will take it. He was outstanding here against Leeds in that unfamiliar position a couple of weeks ago. Goes back to Michael Keane. Gareth Southgate is inside Goodison this evening. Forced forward by Kenny up to Richarlison, who goes to ground and has indeed been fouled by Ruben Dias, and so Everton now have a free kick midway inside the Manchester City half of the field. Dominic Calvert-Lewin absent from the matchday squad. He has an abductor injury. Frank Lampard's assessment, a week to 10 days. Mason Holgate has played every game at centre-back so far for Lampard, with a good ball to Coleman, carrying the fight on the edge of the penalty area and winning a corner kick of the midrib of Aymeric Laporte, corner to Everton on their right.
Yeah, good switch of play out here towards Coleman. I weren't sure Cancelo had any chance of getting there first. He's almost had a gamble, and good play from Coleman. He stepped inside and looked to get the crossing and won the corner for Everton.
6.5 minutes played at Goodison Park in the third of our 3 Premier League commentaries live on game day on TalkSport. And an early opportunity for Everton, a corner on their right-hand side, which Anthony Gordon will take. Guided into the edge of the 6-yard box, headed out of harm's way by Laporte. Alan keeps it alive with a looping ball back out to Gordon on the right-hand side. Good control from him. Crossed by Van der Beek. Richarlison waited at the far post, but John Stones was there with him and headed away. Van der Beek has won it back to Corey. Van der Beek. Now Coleman. You can hear that Everton on the attack. Left-footed cross is too long, and Ederson can allow for that to drift away. One of the advantages of having John Stones at the right back position is just that. You've effectively got a centre-back defending the far post.
Yeah, 6'2". Anything that comes in aerially, he gives that extra height to Manchester City's defence. I've got to say, I've been so impressed with Anthony Gordon's progression, development this season. The way that he pulled the ball out of the air, a lot of young players would have tried to go forward. He dragged it back on a little chop and kept possession really well, and yeah, I've been impressed with that boy's development.
Half-time in the Six Nations match at Twickenham, England versus Wales. Ross Hargreaves.
England 12, Wales 0. 4 penalties from 5 from Marcus Smith for the home side. England largely dominant, but so often the Welsh defence just about keeping the home team out. Brilliant kick to the corner a few minutes ago from Henry Slade. That set up the England field position, but they could not quite get over the whitewash. Wales still in this one, despite a numerical disadvantage at one stage. At the break, England 12, Wales 0.
Goal kick here to Everton, Goodison Park, 8 minutes played, and the game is goalless so far. Rather perilous pass back towards his own goal by Van der Beek, which Everton managed to survive. So Everton 0, Manchester City 0 on TalkSport with a Now Sports Day membership. You can stream all the Sky Sports action, including this game, live now for $11.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. Ruben Dias bringing the ball forward for Manchester City over the halfway line to Rodri, who plays a rather careless pass beyond Aymeric Laporte, but he can just shuffle across and gather it and then roll it back to Edison. Beaten 3 times last Saturday. Edison, actually 4, because Harry Kane had another one disallowed. It's the 3rd time it's happened this season that he's had to pick the ball out of the net 3 times. His major challenge during much of the winter has been staying warm. It's 31 degrees in Rio today. I wish. Edison out to Laporte, square to Ruben Dias, and Manchester City just trying to take any of the sting out of the early evening atmosphere, because this is one of the most atmospheric grounds in the country, Trevor. I was looking actually through the records. I think you played here for 3 different clubs. I think 9 times I counted, and 4 draws and 5 defeats. Was 4 plus 5? That's 9. Did you never win here?
I have won here, yes.
Have you?
Bradley Allen scored a hat-trick, won 4-0.
Okay.
I can't remember the rest of the games.
Late 19th century. Obviously my records didn't go back that far. Alex Iwobi's on the ball for Everton halfway line, coming under a little bit of pressure via Holgate. Back to Jordan Pickford, who goes long down the field. Ball held up a little bit. It is a little bit breezy on Merseyside today. Good header won by Doucouré, just unable to connect with Iwobi, and Manchester City have it back, and the ball's just lifted by Laporte over the halfway line. De Bruyne, and now Gundogan shuffles forward, and Sterling has some space just inside the penalty area. Low cross, Keane had to cut that out. Gundogan was closing in on that cross, but Michael Keane came between Sterling and Gundogan, and Doucouré carries the ball forward, and here's Iwobi on the halfway line, and now Gordon, and this is promising for Everton. Just needed something happening to his left, but he's retained possession and gone for glory from some range. Ball cannons back off a City defender for Doucouré. Rather strong pass, which is well controlled on the chest by Alex Iwobi, and now Doucouré inside the penalty area. First touch a bit heavy, hooked away by Gundogan, kept alive by Van der Beek, headed away by Ruben Dias, and De Bruyne is able just to take the ball down and find Sterling. But Everton are playing with the kind of appetite you would expect. You will have been in this scenario many times as a visiting player.
Absolutely, and they need to really capture that, and the reaction from the fans will tell them everything. As soon as they made a couple of challenges there and got close to Manchester City players to make a challenge, the fans are ready. They want some inspiration from the players.
Keane on the ball for Everton. Yeah, one can understand exactly what Frank Lampard is trying to do, because the point that he's made continually is that Everton are in the mess they're in because perhaps they've been a little too direct and too negative in their style, and he wants them to pass the ball and have more belief in possession and play through the field. But the DNA of this club,
the identity,
and this stadium is all about getting some pressure on and making the opposition feel uncomfortable, and Van der Beek is doing that by finding Gordon, streaking forward to the edge of the Manchester City penalty area, finds a low cross, and it comes off Edison, but just doesn't quite fall for Richarlison. He needed 2 touches to smother that, the Manchester City goalkeeper, but the second one was sure.
Yeah, excellent play, positive play, got the ball. Again, we've just seen Doucouré stepping past Kevin De Bruyne, opening that long stride up, passing the ball out wide to Anthony Gordon, who one-on-one against John Stones, you've got to get at him. You know, you're a winger, he's a centre half playing out of position, he doesn't really want to be out there. Get at him, nice little step over, really dangerous cross into the ball, into the box, and Edison needed 2 bites of the cherry to collect it.
Cancelo coming forward to Manchester City. It's 0-0 at Goodison, edge of the penalty area, trying to play Gundogan in, but Keane is able just to shepherd that ball over the dead ball line and behind Jordan Pickford's goal, and Everton will have a goal kick. That's an interesting matchup on the Manchester City right. John Stones, who was a young player here himself, left in 2016 at a £45 million profit for Everton. He was a right back once upon a time, but obviously most of his senior career has been at the centre of the defence, and alongside him Anthony Gordon, or against him Anthony Gordon, who turned 21 on Thursday and who's been more and more involved in Everton's season.
Yeah, fabulous talent.
Richarlison trying to protect the ball from Rodri. Sliding challenge comes in from Van der Beek, and Manchester City get the throw in just inside their own half on the right hand side. I think clubs like Everton, clubs like Liverpool are somehow better for having local lads in the first 11. The connection with the fans who live football absolutely 24/7 is that little bit stronger when you've got a Trent Alexander-Arnold or an Anthony Gordon out there to see.
Yeah, I think, listen, it applies to all football clubs. You know, I think the academies at football clubs have got a huge responsibility to get the best and nurture talent that you bring from your community, and exactly what's happened with Manchester City and Phil Foden as well. And I think every club, you know, you look at Harry Kane, the Tottenham fans absolutely love the fact that he's one of their own, and more to it, more power to them.
There was an incident in the derby match here earlier in the season when actually Liverpool had a resounding victory over Everton, and a disgruntled fan ran on, and it was all a little uneasy, and Anthony Gordon went over to him and actually had a word with him, Scouser to Scouser, and just calmed things down a little bit. Yeah, I know, we're having a bad day, okay, but you're still a Blue, I'm a Blue, you know, we'll come again. It was that kind of conversation, then he did the trick.
Yeah, good. Again, understanding the lay of the land, understanding what people are saying on the streets in this community, and yeah, they're not happy, but there's only one way you're going to get out of that, and that's working hard, sticking together, and that's surely what these Toffees fans are going to do.
15 minutes gone at Goodison Park, and Everton are sticking together and keeping Manchester City at arm's length. It's goalless here on a day when Everton could finish the evening in 17th place, where they stand now, just a point above Burnley at the bottom 3, or they could finish the day ahead of Newcastle United in 14th place. It's quite a logjam down at the foot of the table. A little bit of a mistake there by Rodri, which he managed to get away with, and Stones coasts forward over the halfway line before finding Foden on the Manchester City right. He comes all the way back to Ruben Dias, partnered again with Aymeric Laporte. He goes on to Cancelo in the left-back spot. He had a little spell at right-back in December, Cancelo, but back in the left-back berth in recent weeks. Only missed 2 Premier League games this season. Foden square to Rodri. And it is a relatively small first-team squad by the standards of the super clubs of Europe. Stones out to Foden on the right-hand side. Dispossessed well by Van der Beek. Foden has the presence of mind to win it back.
Yeah, good reaction and great pace as well. Good reaction from Foden there, because Van der Beek was all over that. He was trying to win the ball back again.
Foden found by a very good pass from Aymeric Laporte. Right-hand touchline. Comes back to John Stones under a little bit of pressure from Van der Beek. Manchester City try to work the opposite touchline, and this time Laporte out to Sterling, confronted by 3 Everton defenders. He's got past 2 of them, but not Seamus Coleman. His clearance isn't a good one. Only as far as Cancelo. Now Rodri, familiar diagonal ball into Foden, who gathers it brilliantly into the dead ball line, and it's diverted behind by John Joe Kenny, who was completely fouled, but fooled, I should say, by Foden's first movement, but managed to recover.
Yeah, similar to Cancelo earlier in the game where the ball was going to Coleman. The fullback thinks he can get there. It's a wonderful pass out to him, but the first touch from Phil Foden is magical. He chops it with his left foot on the half volley, takes it straight past John Joe Kenny, and it's quite well defended at the near post.
Short corner taken to Phil Foden. Play back to Bernardo Silva just outside the penalty area. Square to Cancelo. Square again to Gundogan. 15 metres outside the Everton penalty area. Now Laporte on the left-hand side, a little bit isolated, and he's lost possession here to Richarlison, but referee has pulled play back for foul on Laporte. The Everton harassment was not to the liking of Paul Tierney, so instead of a breakaway, Everton have got a dangerous free kick to defend.
Yeah, and a potential booking as well, because Rodri, who's a cynical one there on Richarlison just after that. I think he's got away with this one. I don't think that was a foul. I think Paul Tierney, the referee today, got that decision wrong. It was a poor touch. He lost control, and Decore had every right to make that challenge and won the ball back for Everton. But it is a dangerous situation now. From about 10 yards outside on the angle of the 18-yard box for Manchester City, free kick.
Game day at Goodison, 18 minutes gone on TalkSport. Everton 0, Manchester City 0. De Bruyne and Foden discussing the free kick, which is about 6 paces in from the Manchester City left-hand touchline. Foden will take it with the left foot to the far post. The head of Laporte reached it. It's fallen for an Everton body in the shape of Richarlison, and as he cleared the ball, he was bundled to the ground. And Everton have some relief and release with a free kick just inside their own penalty area.
Manchester City look quite menacing there. 2 good balls, one from the right from De Bruyne about 5 minutes ago, and this one from the left with his left foot by Foden, just in behind that area where the goalkeeper doesn't want to get involved, and both times making first contact but not being able to hit the target.
Jordan Pickford has the ball at his feet. One of the most accurate passes of a ball in the goalkeeping fraternity.
Good timing that. What a pass that was.
Just flighted out to John Joe Kennedy on the Kenny, I should say, on the left-hand side. Allen now coming forward for Everton, nice disguise and a pass forward to Decore. Now first time to Richarlison. That's really good interchange by Everton. Decore to Gordon, running at Stones again, edge of the penalty area. Anthony Gordon back to Abdoulaye Decore. He's looking for a run to his right. A little tight, and Iwobi lost possession on the edge of the penalty area. And now Manchester City can counter. Raheem Sterling just holds up the move, exchanges passes with Gundogan. Now he's got some space. On to De Bruyne. Sterling back to Ruben Dias, out to John Stones on the right-hand side, over the halfway line and coming forward. Foden just ahead of him. Stones again, clever move to get away from Van der Beek. Just outside the penalty area, trying to find De Bruyne, and just as well for Everton, it was well seen by Holgate and cut out. Now Everton come forward. Richarlison felt that he was fouled by Laporte. Nothing doing, says the referee. Manchester City on the attack again. Gundogan to Sterling. Now Joao Cancelo popping up on the left-hand side. Coaches across, which is easy for Jordan Pickford. This is Trevor Sinclair.
Yeah, great pattern of play, both by Everton initially, going through Decore. Again, he's got that advantage because I think he's quicker than all the midfielders that Manchester City have got, and he's got to utilise that. Little 1-2, give and go, and then as the ball went central, it needed a wide man on the right-hand side, and for whatever reason, Iwobi had come in off the line and made it all too congested. He's got to try and keep a little bit of width there, and then good passage of play afterward by Manchester City, which was well defended by Everton.
21 minutes gone, free kick conceded by Laporte, who was just a little too rugged in his attentions towards Richarlison. Free kick 3 paces in from the right-hand touchline, about 20 metres from the dead ball line. So a crossing position for Everton. Anthony Gordon comes across to take it. Forward from the back comes both Michael Keane and Mason Holgate, the Everton central defensive partnership.
This is where Yerry Mina's a real threat on this Everton side. Short, severely missed in set-piece situations, but again the challenge by Laporte. You know, I thought he had a disappointing game last week against Tottenham. The challenge, he was never going to get the ball. It was an obvious foul, and now he's having to defend a free kick from a dangerous area.
Gordon will take it, right-footed, guided into the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Kevin De Bruyne, claimed though by Donny van der Beek. Coleman plays it square to Allen, angled into the corner towards Gordon, and angled accurately too. His touch is a little heavy, but Van der Beek got to it. Iwobi edge of the penalty area, having his shirt tugged by Rodri. Goes back to the centre circle, and John Joe Kenny fired in towards Iwobi again, but he can't gather it in, and Manchester City are on the break. Bernardo Silva towards De Bruyne. Really important covering challenge from John Joe Kenny. Throw in.
Yeah, excellent. Sensing danger there by John Joe Kenny. You could see that they had a 2 against 1 down this side, and actually if Kevin De Bruyne could get that under control, there was a real danger that he could have gone straight through to goal and maybe had a 2-against-1 right on the edge of the 18-yard box. He sensed that danger really well, John Joe Kenny, and made sure he slid in to make the challenge. Excellent play.
Midpoint in the first half. Everton 0, Manchester City 0 on TalkSport with We Buy Any Car. Sell your car in under an hour, leaving you more time to enjoy the football. Forward comes Ruben Dias for Manchester City. Foden on the right-hand side. Played back to Sterling. They actually began last Saturday's games on opposite flanks, Sterling and Foden, but soon switched. Raheem Sterling's much happier playing from this left-hand side. He's curled 2 delicious goals in the last couple of weeks, cutting in from that left-hand side, one at Norwich and the other in Lisbon. And he's the target for a pass here from Ruben Dias, but well seen by Seamus Coleman, who heads the ball back to Jordan Pickford. Bowled out this time towards Donny van der Beek, already up as far as the halfway line, trying to get Gordon on his way again. He's asked a bit too much of him this time.
Yeah, never going to get on the end of that. Way too much put on the ball. Good idea. I think sometimes when you're in that position, it's on his left-hand side, Donny van der Beek, and you can see that Anthony Gordon's made a good run down the outside, and if you're forcing it, it's not the right option. Just keep possession and look to build a little bit slower. But he didn't have that. He was determined to play the ball, and he forced it in the end, and it was way too much.
Frank Lampard, arms folded on the edge of his technical area, looking as calm as he always does. He had a season as a Manchester City player 7 years ago, and when he lost his job at Chelsea, one of the first voice messages he received was from Pep Guardiola, and he really appreciated that. Spoke about it quite openly in the build-up to this game, and they are now both on touchline patrol about 10 metres away either side of the halfway line. As Manchester City come forward, goalless at Goodison, Decore back to Holgate, up towards Iwobi, and certainly Everton are trying to pass the ball. Iwobi was just clipped there by Foden. Free kick given just inside the Everton half of the field. You can see how he is trying to adapt the basic qualities that Everton have to the kind of style that he wants to bring Everton forward with, Frank Lampard. Yeah, you
can see that, and they're trying to play through the lines. I think obviously Decore, I mentioned him earlier, he's got a talent, he's got a profile which you can't coach. At the end of the day, he's quicker than the three midfielders that Manchester City have got in there, so if you can get him freed up on the ball, I think that'll be a real threat for this Everton side. But they mustn't lose their identity, and this is what I mean now. The ball's going to play for a throw-in, switch on. Can we have a little trigger now? One player, go one press, and everyone get in after it and stick to task, because that's the DNA that I remember playing against in the 9 occasions that I lost here. Thanks very much for reminding me, Clive.
No, only 40 feet, 5 draws. Laporte. Research. Cancelo just inside the Everton half of the field. Played into Rodri, and back to Laporte. The point I was making really was that all those games were in the top flight. It's impossible to think of Everton anywhere other than the top flight playing their league football. Gordon has run the ball well here from Stones and comes forward over the halfway line. Richarlison waiting for runners, and they're arriving. It's Decore out to Iwobi now on the right hand side. Just behind him is Chet the move, but Decore has gone on. He's had an energetic game so far. His early cross is charged down well by Aymeric Laporte. Bounces kindly for Raheem Sterling. Thought about dribbling the ball out of harm's way, played it back to Laporte. Manchester City beautifully play the ball via their goalkeeper out. Stones rides a rather desperate challenge from Gordon, plays it forward to Foden, still inside his own half though, and has to come back to Aymeric Laporte on the edge of the penalty area. Everton 0, Manchester City 0. Kevin De Bruyne wanted more time than he had, and Allen has stolen the ball from him, edge of the penalty area, checks, links up with Iwobi now, just outside the box. Allen just inside the box, goes down rather tamely. Got to his feet pretty quickly when I think he realised he wasn't going to get anything. Another big challenge coming in from Van der Beek on Gundogan, too big for Portini's striking. Free kick given. Gundogan down in agony. But in a strange sort of way, that's kind of what Everton need in order to ignite the place.
Yeah, but he needs to be a little bit slyer about it, and he needs to have at least one eye on the ball. I thought that was a horrendous challenge, straight through the back of Gundogan. I'm just going to have a look at the replay now. I mean, there was a few appeals for a penalty for Alan when he went down, but not for me. He was looking for it. But then as the ball was won back by Manchester City, it went into Gundogan's feet, and Donny van der Beek, he's gone right through the back of Gundogan there, and he's nowhere near the ball. He's protecting the ball really well, as we've seen Gundogan do so much in the past.
Starting 3 games in a row for the first time since he left Ajax 2 years ago.
Wow.
Today, Donny Van de Beek. He started 4 games all season for Manchester United prior to the switch of clubs on loan during the transfer window. He arrived in England during lockdown. I think that has added to the difficulty for 1 or 2 overseas players coming into our game in the last couple of years. It just hasn't happened for him at Manchester United. He's 24 years of age, he's got all the time in the world, and clearly he's got a lot of talent too, and Van der Beek has found a new home for now. 0-0 here at Goodison.
He's certainly got the bit between his teeth for that challenge. He looks like he wants to compete. He looks like he's hungry. He's not here just to, get a little bit of football under his belt. He wants to play and he wants to affect games.
All those hours of pent-up frustration sitting on the Manchester United bench unleashed on Ilkay Gundogan at the expense of a yellow card. It's Everton 0, Manchester City 0. The latest odds are available from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. At this moment, you can get Everton at 10-1 to win the game. It's 0-0. The draw 4-1. Manchester City are 5-2 on. Those odds from Betfair. We will get no cash-out suspensions on match odds and over/under goal markets on football. You must be 18 or over, and do be aware of begambleaware.org, a website which is there with help and advice to help you manage and enjoy your gambling.
I think Frank Lampard will be very happy with the opening 28-29 minutes of this match. They've conceded no shots on target. They've pretty much been able to deal with everything.
De Bruyne trying to change that with a left-footed effort, but it's easy enough for Pickford. Carry on, Trevor.
Yeah, but he'll be happy. That's a 25-yard shot on his left-hand side. You'd expect Jordan Pickford to be able to save that, but they've managed the game. It's not like rabbits in the headlights. You're playing the defending champions and a few players don't take responsibility and fall to pieces. This has been a grown-up performance by Everton, and they're definitely in this game.
Manchester City are getting no breathing space when they're on the ball. Everton have won a throw-in, which Iwobi takes to Van der Beek, right in the heart of the Manchester City half. Kenny. He just checks a little bit short of options, but finds Allen, now square to Coleman. Iwobi is available with his heels on the touchline. Alex Iwobi cuts in field this time, tries to play it forward. Sterling has tracked back to cover and blocks it. Holgate goes down under pressure from De Bruyne and wins a free kick just inside the Manchester City half of the field. Just before we have that free kick, let's hear the latest on England versus Wales with Ross Hargreaves.
England 17, Wales 0. Alex Donbrandt, the big number 8, powering over from a clever overthrowing line-out by Jamie George. Former Cardiff uni student at Cardiff, met ex-Wales under-20s, but he scored for England. England 17, Wales 0.
England heading to their second victory of the Championship, the French one again earlier against Scotland. Everton are unable to make anything of that free kick. Manchester City have it back. De Bruyne, though, caught in possession by Allen, forces his way past Rodri too. He's got support from John Joe Kennedy inside the box, and that side netting. Arthur Goodison thinks it's in. John Joe Kenny strode forward from left back, wasn't quite steady enough to strike the ball as he wished with his unfavoured left foot, but De Bruyne was caught in possession, and that Everton hunger almost brought a goal. Best chance of the match so far, John Joe Kenny.
Yeah, brilliant again from Alan. It's the second time he's pinched the ball off Kevin De Bruyne. He did it about 5 minutes ago, anticipated Kevin De Bruyne and his first touch and manipulating that ball, nicked it off him, played the ball out. It was a lovely threaded ball in for John Joe Kenny, and he's just not been able to get his foot across the ball.
De Bruyne with a wildly overhit cross from the left-hand side. A Manchester City who looked quite imposing in the first 10 minutes, haven't looked themselves in the last 20 minutes. We've had 31 minutes now at Goodison. It is Everton 0, Manchester City 0, and it's an even game.
Yeah, it is an even game. I wouldn't say Manchester City look like they've had their feathers ruffled or anything like that. They just are struggling to get a handle on this game and dictate and dominate like they usually do. And I think a lot of that has to go down to what this Everton side are doing individually, collectively as units.
Foden this time halted. Keane with a header away. Richarlison back towards Allen, who can't quite keep his feet. Gundogan goes square to Foden just outside the penalty area. Now Bernardo Silva with a dangerous run, jinking inside the box and forcing the corner kick on the Manchester City right-hand side.
Yeah, good defending. Again, lots of bodies, lots of Everton bodies getting around Gundogan there, and especially when the ball went out to Bernardo. You know he's trying to cut in on that favoured left-hand side from the right, and they defended it well. It's a corner, they've got to deal with that now.
Corner to Manchester City on their right, down at the Gladys Street end at Goodison Park, where everybody who has bought a seat is standing. De Bruyne will take the corner kick from that right-hand side. Foden offering him a short option, but De Bruyne lifts it towards the head of Aymeric Laporte, and he does get his head on the ball, but it looks rather tamely over Jordan Pickford's crossbar, and behind for another goal kick to Everton.
Really interesting game, because it's quite well balanced. I don't think either side have got a handle on possession more than the other team, and not many shots on target. I think we've had one from Kevin De Bruyne, that one from John Joe Kenny just off target. Needs to try and get that across goal and give one of his teammates a tap in if there's any deflection. But yeah, Manchester City just seem to be struggling to solve this puzzle, which is the shape and the way that Everton is set up.
Allen on the ball for Everton, trying to get Richarlison on his way down the side of Ruben Diaz. He manages to clear his lines, but only as far as Gordon, who's looking really, really lively on the Everton left-hand side. Turns inside again. He's actually fouled by Richarlison, so he can play on. The two came together, and Richarlison goes on alone inside the penalty area, weaving run and found a cross, which Laporte had to deal with. Away as far as Kenny. Ball still bouncing inside the box. He won't be trying to keep it alive, and he's hit by Richarlison. And well saved by Edison. It was straight at the Brazilian goalkeeper from his international teammate, who just had a snapshot as the ball fell for him. He had to hit it first time, an instinctive hit, and a sweet hit, almost too sweet, because it went straight at the goalkeeper.
Yeah, and you can sense from this Goodison Park home crowd, they're desperate for a goal. I think the roof would come off this building if they did get that opener and went into the lead against Manchester City. But good snapshot. He just let it come over his left-hand shoulder and he hit the shot without even thinking about it, really. And it's really well positioned by Edison, and he makes a good save.
They will be taking the roof off and everything in 2 years' time when Everton move to their new home, right down on the banks of the Mersey, on the familiar Liverpool city centre skyline. It's been a year since the planning permission was given, and construction is well underway down at Bramley Moor Dock. It's 2 more years at Goodison Park first. Cancelo forward to Gundogan, well dispossessed by Doucouré. Considering he's been out for 5 weeks and he's been excellent, straight on by Richarlison. Iwobi was in the clear but well offside. I thought we were going to get one of those awful moments when we had to wait half an hour for the assistant to raise his flag, but almost old school that time. The linesman's flag went straight up. He was well off.
Thankfully for all of us, I mean, it was a good 2 or 3 yards off. If he can, he will. We just got to try and hold that run. He's very close to the halfway line. That should be a little safety spot that you don't have to stay on side.
Bernardo Silva attacking the left-hand side of the Everton penalty area. Little back heel to De Bruyne, gathered in low, away by Holgate as far as Richarlison, who protects it well from Ruben Diaz and wins free kick. Well, the big week ahead on Breakfast on TalkSport. Red Bull team boss principal Christian Horner's in on Monday. UFC fighter Israel Adesanya's in the building for Tuesday's show. Jody Morris is in for an hour on Wednesday. Mr. McCoist is back in residence now, and Alan Brazil returns from his ski trip on Thursday and Friday. Was that him I saw on TV coming down the half pipes in China last week? Was that the Winter Olympics? No, I think that was the Winter Olympics.
I think we would have known about it.
Is he a mogul's man, do you think, Brazil?
I think he enjoys the hospitality more than the actual athletic.
The hospitality and the curling, I would have thought. He's certainly not skeleton, that's for sure. It was cleared by Pickford. Headed away in turn by Ruben Diaz, but it's forward to Richarlison just inside the Manchester City penalty area. Holds the ball up, Richarlison trying to turn and find a cross. It's a little bit too long. He did keep it in. John Joe Kenny arrived in a rather tardy fashion. Didn't expect the cross to be successful. Stones is brought away. Kenny has run it back. Do tune in for breakfast from 6 to 10 every weekday with Alan Coisty, Laura and the gang. Next week, Ali's at Wembley tomorrow as part of our commentary team for the Carabao Cup final. Kick-offs at 4:30. Join him, Andy Townsend and Jim Proudfoot with Faye from 3 o'clock tomorrow at Wembley. Everton coming forward again with Gordon. Stones is there, but some of Manchester City's defending is a little last-ditch now. Everton are putting that kind of pressure on, and Gordon's won it back. And here's Allen now being urged forward by the big Goodison crowd. Decore out to Gordon, who can't get enough of the ball on that left-hand side. On the touchline, comes in field to Decore, played into the penalty area for Iwobi, edge of the box, left-hand side. Gordon again, down in front of the nod of travelling Manchester City fans. Crossed in by Iwobi, headed by Laporte. Again, it's rather anxious. Poor clearance by Diaz. Decore trying to make something of it. Gundogan did really well for City, and now they can counter, and they've got 3-on-2 here. De Bruyne to Sterling, edge of the penalty area, back to De Bruyne. Great recovery by Donny van de Beek. Everton exposed for the first time, but Van der Beek got back in there to intercept. Sterling's back on the ball, edge of the penalty area, trying to roll it into Bernardo Silva, and Van der Beek is there again to Everton to clear his lines. Lived a little dangerously that time.
Yeah, brilliant attack there. I thought Kevin De Bruyne could have run with it. He had space in front of him. He played the early ball, I think, to Sterling so he could get the return, and that was blocked. Good defending by the two defenders against the three attackers.
Joao Cancelo dispossessed by Decore on the edge of the Everton penalty area. Richarlison all alone, carrying the fight down the right-hand side. He's short of support. He's managed to hold off Ruben Diaz, but not Joao Cancelo, who eventually outnumbered and dispossessed him. Rodri for Manchester City. Good tempo about this game. It's still goalless though at Goodison, with a little over 6 minutes of the first half remaining.
Just got to be careful now. As the game gets stretched, there's going to be gaps that appear, and need to make sure they get to half time without conceding. We've got 6 minutes to go.
Bernardo Silva from the right hand side, infield to Gundogan, now square to De Bruyne. On the ball Rodri, on by Stones, out to the touchline, and Bernardo Silva again. Stones now has some crossing space, 10 metres outside the penalty area, decides against it, instead goes back to Ruben Diaz. He plays the ball out to the Manchester City left and De Bruyne. Joao Cancelo just outside the penalty area, tucks a clever ball into Foden, who couldn't quite keep it in. It is a goal kick to Everton, and Manchester City's quality does surface from time to time, but they're finding it difficult this evening because Everton are making it difficult.
They are making it difficult, Clive. I've been really impressed, especially with Alan and Decore in the middle, really supporting that back four of Coleman, Holgate, Keane and Kenny. Kenny's done really well. He's sensed danger. He's put his foot in when he needs to. But I think this has been a performance from a team that look like they don't want to go down, and they realise the trouble that they're in, and they're leaving it all out there, and that's why the home crowd have been responding so positively.
Allen on the ball for Everton, still 0-0. Out to Gordon on the left-hand side, just inside the Manchester City half of the field, but instead of going back, he wants to turn and run at Stones again. Really positive once more from Anthony Gordon. Stones has got some help from Bernardo Silva down in that corner, and he's able to clear Manchester City lines for now, up towards Sterling. Keane reaches around him and wins the ball. Sterling actually fouled Michael Keane, but a good advantage played because Allen's on the ball, rolled into Richarlison, nicked away from him by Ruben Diaz. Gundogan just trying to restore some order to that Manchester City midfield. There's no way out. Cancelo trying to get forward, but Iwobi won't let him. Rodri now coming over the halfway line. Sterling dropping infield and finding a little pocket 10 metres inside the Everton half. Gundogan on the ball, out to the left-hand side now, Joao Cancelo. He's 20 metres outside the penalty area. Cuts infield onto his favourite right foot. Finds Rodri. Now out to the touchline. Bernardo Silva has found station on that right-hand side more and more. Guides it in low, but it's easy enough for Jordan Pickford. It was a shot at goal, but a weak shot from Bernardo Silva. They're actually operating now with Bernardo Silva pretty wide on that right-hand side, and Sterling playing more down the centre. I think they've just shaken things up a little bit, Manchester City. Kevin De Bruyne, who I thought started last weekend more as a number 10 than part of a midfield three, seemed to have gone into that position again, and they've just shuffled their pack so that they've got De Bruyne in front of Gundogan and Rodri, and then Bernardo Silva from the right, Foden from the left, and Sterling down the middle now. Yeah,
well, it's not working, is it? You know, the plan A is not working, and this is what top managers do. In game, they make calls, and more often than not, if it's a top manager like Pep Guardiola, the call is proven right, because they've not been able to break down this Everton side in the opening 42 minutes of the game, and they're changing it, and let's see if they have any joy with this formation of players.
He said yesterday that he's learning to enjoy his profession more, Pep Guardiola. He didn't enjoy last Saturday, but he said that he's starting to be able to accept defeats in a more natural way, to use his words, not so dramatic.
Yeah.
Just swings and roundabouts.
Well, I think when the last game you got beaten was against Tottenham on the first day of the season, it's easy to say that.
Yeah, the defeats are not coming every week. They don't grind you down quite the same, but
they're human. I think that's what he's trying to say. He's saying the players are human, and even though they go out, they prepare, they go out and try and win every game, they're human, and at times they're going to have off days, and they had an off day last week against Spurs, and Spurs took full advantage, and you have to give them credit for their performance as well.
Ups and downs, but you gain on the swings, you lose on the roundabouts.
There you go.
Everybody knows that. So why, when you've been on the swings and you know you're going to lose on the ride, you go on the roundabout?
The excitement, the glory, the jeopardy. We want to live.
Meanwhile, back at the football, 2 minutes to go to half-time. It is Everton 0, Manchester City 0. Jordan Pickford with a goal kick for Everton. Really got his foot through that. Richarlison headed it on, turned away by Cancelo. Rodri just hooks it high down the field. Holgate underneath it with Sterling. Holgate won it, headed on by Decore. Has really taken the eye in this first half, in his first match for Frank Lampard. Good work too by Allen, on by Richarlison. Here's Donny van der Beek, 15 metres outside the penalty area, ran into a bit of traffic, but emerged with the ball. Richarlison goes down, just unbalanced by Rodri's attentions, and Everton have a free kick here about 7 paces outside the penalty area and pretty central, just right of central. Good position this for Everton.
Yeah, good work again by Allen. He's a little dog in there, you know, he nicks the ball and then he's aggressive with it, and then he's got a little bit of guile, a little Cruyff to get away from a challenge, keeps the move alive, gets it into Richarlison, and Richarlison uses his physique, you know, protects the ball, makes sure the defender, I think it was Rodri or was it Diaz, can't see the ball but is desperate to make a challenge, wins his team a foul, and it's I'd say it's about exactly 27, between 25 and 27 yards out, and pretty central, so a good opportunity for Everton to have maybe one of the last chances of this half.
What kind of a dog would Allen be?
He would be. I think he'd be a Jack Russell.
A pedigree pitbull. Oh, Jack Russell. Okay.
And I love Jack Russells.
Okay. We learn things about you every week, Trevor. It's fascinating. Shut your own show. Right, free kick to Everton. It's about 27, we decided, 27 yards out. It means that it's on the borderline of shooting. Anthony Gordon has placed it pretty purposefully, as if he fancies beating Edison from this kind of range. Manchester City have assembled a 3-man wall. There won't be a standing on the end of it. The board for the added minutes is about to go up because we have had 45 now. It's going to be 2. But first we've got this dangerous Everton free kick.
Just watching Lampard there, just making sure that his team are switched on just in case there's a counter-attack.
Gordon hits it, and hits it pretty well actually. It just brushed the frame of the goal. Edison probably had it, when I say the frame of the goal, no, the frame of the netting. It actually curled past the post and the angle, and just ruffled the netting, the outside of the netting, as John Joe Kenny did a little earlier in this first half. Everton have had their moments, that's for sure. And Manchester City haven't made a glaring chance. They're not a chance they'd look back and think, crikey, how did we miss that? Foden just inside the Everton half of the field, helping the ball on. Holgate helps it out of play for a throw-in to Manchester City. Midway through the Everton half on the Manchester City left. Taken by Cancelo, back to Laporte. Square to Ruben Dias. Now John Stones playing it right back, 15 metres inside the Everton half of the field. Ruben Dias on the edge of the centre circle, out to Foden on his new position on the left hand side. Cancelo, back to Laporte. Square again to Ruben Dias, just trying to move the Everton cover across, shift it from side to side and open up some chinks and gaps. Back to Stones again. Under pressure from Allen inevitably. Pressure that either John Stones or the referee particularly liked. Free kick given to Manchester City. Probably the last action of this so far goalless first half at Goodison Park.
Quite spicy as well. It's been a spicy half. I think the challenges that have gone in at times by Manchester City players. But yeah, I think the home crowd have been very happy with the application and the organisation that Frank's brought to this side in the first half.
Free kick which Kevin De Bruyne will take. High into the penalty area, and easy catch for Jordan Pickford. And that is the last action of the first half. As the scoreline suggests, an evenly contested first half. Everton are trying to find a blend here. They're trying to find a mix of a bit of the old Duncan Ferguson up and at 'em, because the crowd here demand that, and engaging the crowd at Goodison Park is a big plus for Everton Football Club. But at the same time, a few of Frank's fineries too. They have tried to pass the ball when they can, and they've mixed up their game very well so far. They've been a match for Manchester City. Just watching Gareth Southgate and Mike Summerby file out from the director's area for a cup of tea, and while we have a cup of tea, I'll hand you back to Faye with Everton 0, Manchester City 0. Thank you, Faye.
I think she forgot my position.
I think she forgot my England caps. Oh no, you're right on that one, Faye. If you want to know the scale of the challenge that Frank Lampard's taken on here, Everton's record after 23 games is very nearly the poorest in their history. Just one season back in the 1920s when results have been worse at this stage. They've won 2 of their last 17 league games, lost 12 of them, lost to Norwich, lost to Watford, lost to Newcastle. I mean, few managers really get to inherit a winning team, but they've been better than that this evening, that's for sure. The problems that have been evident here since September really are being addressed out there in front of our very eyes with a very focused performance, and they're coming forward at the start of the second half with Richarlison turning, finding Decore, and Gordon was almost in, just jabbed away by Rodri rather anxiously, managed to find Foden on the touchline, and Rodri clears his lines, but only as far as Donny van der Beek. Too strong for Kevin De Bruyne, forcing his way forward again. Cancelo regains possession for Manchester City. City playing from left to right as we look on from our position in the main stand here at Goodison Park. Everton attacking the Gladys Street end of this wonderful football ground. It's not really a stadium, it's a football ground, and they're attacking their most vocal fans in this second half, who will do their level best to stay behind their team and create the energy and intensity that we've seen recreated, that we've seen from Everton already in this game. Trevor Sinclair alongside me.
Yeah, I mentioned in the first half how well Everton had done to stay quite solid at the back. They're not committing too many players forward, which I think is sensible against the defending champions, and especially the way Manchester City have played in the past.
Foden trying to change all that, bursting onto the ball edge of the penalty area. There was a rather loose and careless pass which he saw, but again the defence is defiant. Gundogan providing some width now for Manchester City on the left-hand side, but providing some width beyond the last defender, and the flag goes up, and Everton will have a free kick. Manchester City's lead was 12 points less than 2 weeks ago. The closing of the gaps had more to do with Liverpool making up ground than them losing it, but momentum is a powerful force in sport, and there are echoes of their own recovery in that epic title race 3 seasons ago when City came from 10 back to pip Liverpool, and their victory here that February, which took them back to the top for the first time in a couple of months, was one of the most important of that wonderful season. Manchester City have the ball with De Bruyne up towards Sterling on the halfway line, but again Allen and Van der Beek get to him immediately, and Allen forward, and Richarlison through here, denied by Edison. The flag does go up. It is one of those that the assistant wasn't sure about, so he waited. Richarlison was clean through on the goalkeeper, couldn't beat him anyway, but Manchester City do get a free kick.
What a save by Edison. You know, he got his angles all right, came out, kept himself nice and big, and just as Richarlison pulled the trigger, he wasn't to know that it was offside. Just as he pulled the trigger, he spread himself really well. And you know, we talk about how good Edison is with the ball at his feet, and we've seen that displayed and demonstrated even this evening. But as a goalkeeper, I think he's improved, and that was an outstanding save by the Brazilian number 1 shot stopper.
Just to repeat, the flag did go up. We assume it was offside. If Richarlison had scored, it would have been checked, and All those lines would have come out, but it wasn't necessary because he couldn't beat the giant Edison, his Brazilian international teammate. Headed away by Seamus Coleman, well controlled by Decore. Into the path of Iwobi, halfway line, Everton right, wants to try and have a little race here with Joao Cancelo, a race that Iwobi's won, got to the edge of the penalty area, across comes Laporte to join in at the expense of a corner kick to Everton on their right hand side. Just listen to Goodison Park.
Yeah, excellent play from Iwobi, brilliant wing play, 1 against 1 against Cancelo, showing him a clean pair of heels. Once he beat him, he didn't need to take that extra touch. That's where you put it in the box. Everyone's running towards Edison's goal. One of your players might not even got on the end of it. One of the opposition players might.
Corner short by Gordon to Coleman. Van der Beek tosses it into the penalty area and Edison comes to claim it as Richarlison waits again. Edison bowls it out quickly and Sterling's on his way and he's over the halfway line already and he's got 2 with him here. Raheem Sterling into the Everton penalty area, chips into the box, but Van der Beek's got back there. Holgate's clearance is a little anxious, finds only Rodri. Stones to Bernardo Silva. Rodri to Stones, 15 metres outside the penalty area, wide to Bernardo Silva. He wants to run at Kenny here, edge of the penalty area. Good work again by John Joe Kenny. Got a bit of help from Anthony Gordon, who did some off the ball blocking, and Everton have the ball back and Gordon has the ball at his feet and he's found Decore. Lovely pass, very well gathered by Decore. Onto Richarlison now, cutting in, right hand touch line. He's got support from Iwobi. He needs a little bit more help. Alex Iwobi was crowded out and then Joao Cancelo emerges with the ball and it's got a real open feel to it now, this game. Cancelo trying to protect it from Iwobi, who chased him down and prevented him making any progress. Stones does make progress. Gundogan now goes forward for Manchester City. Foden left hand side, just outside the penalty area, and it's Iwobi again with a challenge. Doesn't dispossess Foden though. He's beaten Coleman this time. He's got it back to Gundogan, chipped into the far post. Bernardo Silva can't gather it. It's breathless, it really is.
That was brilliant, a great reaction. It was quite a threatening attack initially. Richarlison found a nice little outside of the foot coming in from the left hand side into Iwobi, who'd come in from that right hand side, got the ball under control, started to ticky-tacky around, looking to try and penetrate the defence of Manchester City. He got dispossessed and then went on a tantrum of trying to win the ball back, and he must have run about 100 yards all over the pitch, and in the end the home crowd at Goodison reacted in a positive way. Great reaction from Iwobi, and that's what needs to happen from these Everton players.
He's been here 2.5 years, Alex Iwobi, and I think it's fair to say that the jury's probably still out. He started the last 3 now in this stop-start Everton career. Spent much of January at the African Cup of Nations, but they really responded to him there, and he lost the ball initially, but it was his determination to chase it down and win it back which really warms some Evertonian hearts. 0-0 at Goodison Park. Stones coming forward, edge of the Everton penalty area. Found Bernardo Silva here, cut back towards Gundogan, cut out well by Decore, cleared by Van der Beek. Ruben Dias is hurried by Richarlison. Laporte goes on to Cancelo. He wants to go forward, but Decore won't allow that, just shuts the door in his face at the expense of a throw into Manchester City.
Brilliant play from John Stones down this right hand side, obviously playing right back. He's just done a lovely little bit of skill where, you know, he's got little patterns of play in his mind, and he's just manipulated 2 or 3 Everton defenders, ended up playing the ball down the right for Bernardo, who was in, couldn't get the end product, but really good play from John Stones.
De Bruyne, Gundogan, 15 metres outside the penalty area. Really good pass for Bernardo Silva, trying to pick across into the box. Holgate has it more up than out. Decore helps on his way. Iwobi on as far as Phil Foden. Low cross, this time Van der Beek in the way. Richarlison trying to control the ball under pressure from Ruben Dias, who fouls him. But teams may want change from the weekend. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, last weekend that is. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's not involved for Everton. He has an abductor injury which is going to keep him out for 10 days or so. So they've got Pickford in goal. Their back 4 is Coleman, Holgate, Keane and Kenny. Playing with quite a tight 3 in midfield. Decore back in the team, Allen and Van der Beek, and then a kind of front 3 of Iwobi on the right, Richarlison in the middle and Gordon on the left. Manchester City have brought Stones in at right back and left Walker out of their team. Richarlison chasing another pass here. I suspect he might just have been offside. Let's see. Edge of the penalty area, drives it against the heels of Aymeric Laporte. Manchester City have Ederson in goal. Back four is Stones, Diaz, Laporte and Cancelo. Midfield two really now of Rodri and Gundogan, with De Bruyne just in front of them. And then Sterling is playing down the middle. He started out wide. Bernardo Silva's playing from the right-hand side and Foden from the left-hand side. Both Grealish and Jesus are on the bench this evening. Crossed by Decore, which is gathered comfortably enough by Ederson. It remains Everton 0, Manchester City 0 here on TalkSport with the Now Sports Day membership. You can stream all the Sky Sports action, including West Ham United versus Wolverhampton Wanderers, live tomorrow for $11.99 without a contract. Search Now Sports. Rodri on the ball for Manchester City. De Bruyne back to goal, 10 metres outside the penalty area. Comes wide to Stones, wider still to Bernardo Silva. Trying to trick his way past John Joe Kenny, comes back to Rodri. He gets the ball back immediately from De Bruyne. Still corner of the penalty area. Now wider for Bernardo Silva. Once more taking on Kenny, although he's got a bit of help from Allen on this occasion. Rodri has to come all the way back to Aymeric Laporte. He goes square to Ruben Diaz. Wonderful cover and hounding again from Everton. Bernardo Silva, though, making progress infield. And he's found Foden, and he forces a good save from Jordan Pickford. Kept alive by Cancelo. Foden again. Now Sterling inside the penalty area. Cancelo with a clever check, goes for goal. Pickford has to make another save, puts it up into the air and catches it. Most gainful employment of Jordan Pickford's evening. A double save there after a fabulous pass picked out Phil Foden.
Yeah, brilliant play again. John Stones and Bernardo down this right hand side. They kind of manipulate a situation where Bernardo's coming in from the right hand side, everyone's running to the box, and he plays it just behind everyone on the floor, not a chip cross, on the floor. Phil Foden, first time shot with his left side. Good save by Jordan Pickford. The ball then lands at Cancelo's feet. He lies the full-back down, getting to the byline, comes back onto his favoured right foot and tries to whip it in from a decent angle, and it's another good save. Got his angles all right by Jordan Pickford.
0-0 at Goodison. Yellow card coming the way of Allen, who brought down Bernardo Silva and then argued the toss very vigorously with the assistant on the near side. Not sure the yellow card is for the foul or the dissent. I suspect the latter. You've got to be careful now. After Gabriel Martinelli, you can get a couple of yellow cards in the blink of an eye.
Split second.
But a free kick it is. A yellow card, and only one yellow card for Allen.
Looks like he might have just got a little tweak on his quad muscle there.
Yeah, just stretching out as he prepares to defend this free kick, which is about 5 paces in from the right-hand touchline, maybe 10 paces from the dead ball line. And right foot of De Bruyne, left foot of Foden are the options. One swinging away from Pickford, the other swinging towards him. Ruben Diaz and Aymeric Laporte are in the mix. Gundogan's waiting on the edge of the penalty area, maybe for a volley. It's going to be the left foot of Phil Foden. Swung in. Header away is by Richarlison, helping out on the edge of his 6-yard box. Bernardo Silva goes square to Joao Cancelo. Driven in with far too much power, and Pickford is able to let it go through for a goal kick. It's full time at Twickenham. Here's Ross Hargreaves.
England 23, Wales 19. England leading 17-0 early in the second half after Don Brandt's try. Back came the Welsh with scores from Adams and Tompkins. Marcus Smith, man of the match, with 2 more crucial penalties. His 5th and 6th of the game to put England back ahead. Back came the Welsh with a minute to go. Kieran Hardy, their replacement scrum half, crashed over for a nervy finale. Outscored 3 tries to 1. England cling on. They stay second in the table for now after beating Wales 23-19.
Third of our live Premier League commentaries on TalkSport's Game Day is coming from Goodison Park, where we are 13 minutes into the second half, and it remains Everton 0, Manchester City 0.
This is Game Day exclusive on TalkSport. I'm Faye Carruthers. We will be getting back to Goodison Park as soon as possible. Lovely when Clive Tilsley is in full flow like that. Just a reminder of the score. It is Everton 0, Manchester City 0 at the moment, and our team will be bringing you all the latest as that goes on. Let's run through the rest of today's scores, shall we? Because we were talking earlier on, myself and Trevor Sinclair, about what's going on at Leeds United after reports emerged following that 4-0 defeat to Tottenham Hotspur from Leeds that Marcelo Bielsa's time at the club may well have come to an end. We shall find that out later on. I wonder whether we can go to Ross Hargreaves as well, but no, Ross Hargreaves has gone. My producer Clint is telling me at the moment. We have plenty of live football coming up here on the TalkSport network. Most excitingly, from Wembley tomorrow, I'm very privileged to be in the hot seat for that one. For Chelsea against Liverpool, the Carabao Cup final kicking off at 4:30. We'll have build-up throughout the day, of course, as well. Commentary's going to come from Jim Proudfoot, former Scotland striker Ali McCoist, and former Republic of Ireland midfielder Andy Townsend will be alongside me as well. And then we've got loads of FA Cup action for you as well across the week, including on Monday. We've got Championship action over on TalkSport 2, an exclusive between West Brom and Swansea, and then the FA Cup starts on Tuesday. Peterborough, Manchester City at 7:15, Middlesbrough against Tottenham as well in the 5th round, and then on Wednesday I'm going to be at Kenilworth Road for Luton against Chelsea as a fan though, rather than as a presenter. Liverpool Norwich is at 8:15. As I understand it, we have our commentary team with Clive Tilsley and Trevor Sinclair back at Goodison Park for the action.
De Bruyne coming forward for Manchester City. Clip to the far post. Set up by Foden trying to find Sterling. But Allen is in the way. It remains Everton 0, Manchester City 0. Was Faye doing a bit of commentary behind my back there when we had our technical troubles. I hope she's not up to my job. It's a really gripping, almost cup tie of a game, this. And the deeper it goes, the more jeopardy there is on the first goal, even when it arrives. Foden's on the ball, down to the dead ball line. Manchester City have had a good 5 or 10 minutes here. They pushed Everton back. Everton haven't been able to get out quite so often, but Decore is trying to do that. He thought he was fouled. Referee says play on. Gundogan into Sterling, down the left-hand side of the Everton penalty area. Back to Cancelo. Manchester City have got to play it down. They're not quite whether they'd stop play or not. They have eventually stopped play because it may well just be a head injury for Phil Foden.
Yeah, I think Phil Foden's working back there to get goal side of Decore, and Decore's almost just put a palm of his hand straight in the nose, it looked, of Phil Foden. And I don't care who you are, when you get a palm in the hand like that, you'll get water in your eyes, and that's exactly what it did. It floored Phil Foden, and Manchester City were happy to play on because I think they knew the situation and what had gone on, but the crowd were asking for the ball to be put out just in case it was a head injury, and Phil Foden's back on his feet now, so
Foden's okay. 8th consecutive start this evening for Phil Foden. I say that because he's the only one of the Manchester City squad who has started each of the last 8 games, and he's on the ball again now to Cancelo. Lifted in towards De Bruyne. That was horrible what happened to his family last weekend at the boxing. I mean, it's not the price of fame, it's the perils of fame, really. And just awful behaviour. These are just human beings like you and me. They're a bit more talented than, well, certainly me. Trevor used to be pretty good. But treat them with respect, for goodness sake, they entertain us. Holgate on the ball for Everton on the edge of his own penalty area. Gets it back from Decore. Holgate goes long towards Iwobi. Maybe a little nudge on Cancelo. Referee is happy for play to go on. There's no flag. Iwobi's eventually wrestled off the ball by Cancelo, but it falls for Decore. He can't find his play through. It's got to feel of the last 2 or 3 minutes, and we're only 18 minutes into the second half, but it's pretty frantic out there at the moment. John Stones to Rodri.
John Stones has been excellent in that right back position. He understands, he sees pictures, he understands how to solve situations, and his sharpness of his passing today has been exceptional down this right hand side for Manchester City.
And Kyle Walker's appeal against a 3-game ban. The very harsh 3-game ban that he's got from UEFA has been rejected. So, I mean, Manchester City are going to be in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, and Kyle Walker's certainly going to miss the first leg. Here's De Bruyne.
Ill-discipline from Kyle. You know, listen, I know it's a harsh punishment, but come on. We thought we'd got rid of that part of his game, that petulant part of his game.
In Leipzig in December, his red card. Forward comes a good cross from Foden. Sterling couldn't reach it. Hit by John Stones with his left foot, and hit very well indeed by his wrong foot. And Pickford just had to beat that up in the air, really, and then catch it at the second attempt. Managed to do that, but at the expense of corner kick on the right-hand side to Manchester City.
Yeah, starting to dominate possession now, Manchester City. Everything's down to our right-hand side. The end that Manchester City are attacking. It's getting up to around 70%, just short of that, in possession.
Cancelo into the penalty area, headed away by Coleman. Manchester City winning it back time and time again. I'm just having my attention drawn to an announcement and statement that's been issued by Roman Abramovich. It's a long statement, but I think the bottom line is that he is giving the trustees of Chelsea's charitable foundation the stewardship and care of Chelsea Football Club. He's on the way out. That's the bottom line. We'll get more on that after the match. It's a difficult announcement just to digest in the cold light of day, because the cold reality of day is absolutely awful what the Russian leader and the Russian military are doing in Ukraine. So more on that after the match. 0-0 here. De Bruyne comes off the shins of Van der Beek, and it's a corner on the right hand side to Manchester City.
No respite for Everton now. Everyone's having to work really hard defensively, and when they win the ball back, they're not having it for long at all. You'd say it's only a matter of time, but they've defended so well, bravely, not giving away too many clear-cut chances.
Foden with this corner from the right-hand side into the near post, where it's headed away by Richarlison. Done some good work back there on behalf of his defence, the main Everton striker. Trying to reach the ball again, Decore just inside his own half, but Everton are unable to enjoy any sustained periods of pressure or possession at the moment. Manchester City, wave after wave of attacks coming forward now down the right-hand side with Phil Foden just inside the penalty area. Cross is deflected awkwardly, loops over Keane, headed away by Holgate, helped on its way out of harm's way by Jonjo Kenny for a throw in down by the corner flag. Foden has it for Manchester City, gets a little nudge from Gordon. Stones goes back to Ruben Dias. Now Laporte, edge of the centre circle. Ruben Dias again, critical stage in the game, real storm for Everton to weather. Manchester City just trying to pick their moment, just trying to carve out that one clear opportunity, which may just be enough to win this game. It's still 0-0 at Goodison. De Bruyne though, midway through the Everton half. Sterling into Gundogan, little back heel. De Bruyne again, edge of the penalty area, good save by Pickford, hit by Bernardo Silva, another good save by Pickford, and Van der Beek manages to prevent Foden getting to the rebound. Twice Everton's, England's Jordan Pickford came to the rescue after Manchester City's best move of the evening.
That's absolutely tremendous by Jordan Pickford. Brilliant bit of play down the left-hand side by Manchester City. Little ticky-tacky passing. The ball opened up about 18 yards out to Kevin De Bruyne. He hit his shot. It was a great save. It fell in the path of Bernardo. He hit it on the volley first time. Jordan Pickford had just got to his feet and stuck out a right hand, and it's a brilliant second save. Excellent work from England's number one.
Everton 0, Manchester City 0. The latest odds are available from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage. At this moment, it's 0-0. You can get Everton to win it 10-1. The draw is 9-5. Manchester City are 5-4 on to win this game. Those odds from Betfair. We will get no cash-out suspensions on match odds and over-under goal markets on football. You must be 18, and do be aware of begambleaware.org. Ball now with Pickford's opposite number, Ederson, who clears his lines left-footed up towards the halfway line. Foden's header down, finds its way to Cancelo. Now Sterling just inside the Everton half. Neither side has made a change as yet, but we are approaching that time. We're into the final quarter of the game. Rodri is on the ball for Manchester City. A point for them will take them only 4 points clear of Liverpool, who have had that game in hand going into the Carabao Cup final tomorrow. A draw for Everton will take them above Leeds into 16th. Bernardo Silva's on the ball for Manchester City, right hand side, attacking the edge of the penalty area again. Rodri, square to Stones, back out to Bernardo Silva once more. Little flick, finds De Bruyne, little clip cross, and the header's just over the top from Phil Foden. But again, they undid the Everton cover there. Lovely interchange between Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne, who just waited a little chip onto the head of Phil Foden, and he just couldn't quite grow enough to guide the header.
Yeah, that was literally a 70-degree sandwich there from Kevin De Bruyne on the byline, quite close to Jordan Pickford. He really needed to get that lofted club out. He lifted it over the goalkeeper, but he also lifted it a little bit too hard for Phil Foden, who couldn't get over the ball to head it on target, and another chance goes begging for Manchester City. But brilliant play down the right hand side again. Kevin De Bruyne and Gundogan got a real good connection on the pitch. They understand each other's movements, and they're just manipulating the Everton defence there to get themselves in play.
There's a stoppage in play because Donny van der Beek is down injured. Dele Alli is imminent. You know, Pep Guardiola 5 years ago suffered his heaviest ever league defeat on this ground, beaten 4-0 by Ronald Koeman's Everton, beaten despite a 71% share of possession that afternoon, beaten out of the title race into 5th place 2017, and he clearly didn't like it because City have won 5 times in a row at Goodison since then. They've beaten Everton 9 times in a row, home and away. The moral of the story, don't make Pep Guardiola angry. 9 straight wins, 26 goals. He was very angry indeed. But tonight, no goals as yet. No breakthrough. No victory. So Dele Alli, who's played about 100 minutes in 3 substitute appearances for Everton since the switch from Tottenham Hotspur, comes on. Just 4 starts in 4 months. He was actually in the Tottenham team at the beginning of the season, but soon lost his place. But here's a man who was playing in a Champions League quarter-final against Manchester City 3 years ago. He's still only 25. He's still Dele Alli, and he's on here for the injured Van der Beek.
Could make a real name for himself if he has any kind of impact in this game to help Everton get all 3 points, or even to help Everton get 1 point, because at the moment that's at risk, that's at jeopardy, the amount of possession and chances Manchester City are creating.
It's a straight swap. You're playing on the left of that tight midfield 3, Decore, Allen, and now Ali with Gordon wide left and Iwobi wide right. Richarlison up front. Stone square to Diaz, edge of the centre circle. Out to Sterling now on the left-hand side. Chance for him to run at Seamus Coleman. Sterling jabbed back to Rodri, looking for Sterling again, but Coleman tracked the run and managed to get to the ball first, and Richarlison's done extremely well to reach the ball and hold it up. He's still midway inside his own half, but he's retained possession. Kenny trying to hook it down the touchline, has hooked it out of play, and so Manchester City will have a throw midway through the Everton half on their right-hand side. But Everton have put so much into this game, I fancy Frank Lampard's going to have to turn to his substitutes bench again before too long. They're just starting to look a bit weary.
Yeah. Richarlison, I've got to say, has done superbly well in that number 9 loan spell.
Sterling has found Gundogan with a cross, headed away by Dele Alli. Stones reclaims it, Rodri. Now Laporte on the ball. Everton with 11 back behind the ball. Ruben Diaz quickly out to Bernardo Silva on the right hand side. They switch things about again, Manchester City. Sterling's gone out to the left now, and Foden is the man playing down the centre. Those front 3 have occupied every one of the 3 positions between them during the course of the evening.
It's just to bamboozle the defenders when they're getting a bit comfortable.
Bamboozling me, stop it. Here's Cancelo, square to Rodri, back to Ruben Diaz. They're trying to lure Everton out, and Everton are having none of it, holding their shape. That tight knot of dark blue shirts is difficult for Manchester City to play through, but they have found a way through more and more, particularly in the last 10 minutes or so when Jordan Pickford's seen far more action. Heavy touch by Cancelo, and Everton have got a chance of a bit of an escape. It won't be up as far as the halfway line. Decore, he's got Gordon in space on this left-hand side, and Anthony Gordon's reached the edge of the penalty area now, trying to go on the outside of John Stones and find a shot, but on his unfavoured left foot. It was a weak shot wide of Ederson's right-hand post, and just ran out of steam a little bit. And maybe Everton are just running out of steam a little bit.
They are. John Stones again, one-on-one with Anthony Gordon. It looked like it opened up. He had the perfect scenario, running in towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Had the defender on toast, but John Stones stuck to his task, stayed on his feet, didn't make any rash decisions, and in the end he ran out of ideas, Anthony Gordon, and it was well ushered out by John Stones.
Just to confirm, Roman Abramovich has made an announcement. He's out of Chelsea. He's giving the trustees of the Chelsea's charitable foundation the stewardship and care of Chelsea FC. More on this with Faye and Gabby a little bit later coming on Talk Sport. Game day, your verdict.
Looks like there's a lively warm-up going on there, Clive. Mahrez and I think Jesus.
Cancelo with a cross into the Everton penalty area. An Everton penalty area which is coming under more and more scrutiny. De Bruyne with a clever little move, almost got himself into the box. Out inside is said to Bernardo Silva. De Bruyne again. Comes back to Rodri. Again, tries just to shift the cover around and create some gaps, but it's so difficult to do. De Bruyne looking to slide Stones in, but Kenny's having none of that. Gordon clears his lines, but only to another sky blue shirt. And at Manchester City come forward again with Laporte.
I've noticed they double back a lot now, Manchester City. It looks like they're going to recycle and go out the other way, and what they'll do is they'll double back and go back down the same way again, just so the defenders think, yeah, we've done our job down this side, now we can switch off, and they're catching defenders out.
Into the last 15 minutes, Gundogan and Sterling combine edge of the penalty area. Gundogan goes on, but Michael Keane emerges with the ball, which is won back by Ruben Diaz. Seamus Coleman has it for Everton. Out to the right-hand side in Iwobi. Forward towards Decore. He's got Richarlison up with him, but his path is halted by Aymeric Laporte at the expense of an Everton throw-in midway inside the Manchester City half of the field. Right, 3 more changes coming. We're going to see Riyad Mahrez and Gabriel Jesus for Manchester City, and we're going to see Damari Gray for Everton. Standing ovation for Anthony Gordon, who's given his all for Everton and has looked their most dangerous forward for much of the evening. He will give way to Damari Gray, who was injured in the first half at Newcastle 18 days ago, and makes his return now. Ilkay Gundogan is coming off for Manchester City, and so is Raheem Sterling on in their place. Gabriel Jesus, who we haven't seen for nearly 3.5 weeks, and Riyad Mahrez, of whom we've seen a lot in the last few weeks, both for a club and country, and who is Manchester City's leading goal scorer by far. So Mahrez is on in his usual position on the right hand side.
Ooh, John Joe Kenny, tired legs. This could be a difficult task for him to complete the remaining 15 minutes of this game.
To my amazement, Gabriel Jesus is actually going to play as a number 9. He must have forgotten how to play that role. And Phil Foden's on the left hand side. That's the Manchester City attack now. And Bernardo Silva's dropped back one into the midfield 3 on the left, with De Bruyne on the right and Rodri in the centre. On the ball is Joao Cancelo, up as far as the halfway line, plays it to Rodri, ventures into Everton territory, switches it back to Joao Cancelo. Down the left hand side for Bernardo Silva, accelerates away from Coleman, edge of the penalty area now, sets up Rodri for a drive. Well, he smashed one in against Everton when the two teams met back at the Etihad in November, but that one was quickly blocked. De Bruyne edge of the penalty area. Kenny is first to it. Ali helping out, goes down, was fouled by De Bruyne, and Everton have a free kick just inside their own penalty area, and they will take their time over it.
They need to, because this is every man needed, working defensively out of possession. I thought that was quite clever of Dele Alli. I didn't think it was a foul when he came together with Kevin De Bruyne there, but he went down very easily and made the referee make a decision. Fortunately, he went with him.
Free kick was Jordan Pickford will take, quite deliberately pacing out Iran and running down the clock a little more before driving it high and deep into the Manchester City half. Ruben Dias heads away. Rodri helps it on its way. De Bruyne managed to claim it under pressure from Allen but couldn't control it, and Everton have a throw in midway inside the Manchester City half on the left hand side. The first half was very evenly contested. The second half has been less and less so.
Nearly 70% possession now. Manchester City just shows how dominant they've been in this second half.
They're on the ball. Manchester City, it's still Everton 0, Manchester City 0 on TalkSport with We Buy Any Car. Sell your car in under an hour, leaving with more time to enjoy the football. Just trying to play their way carefully out of defence, which they did very expertly. Bernardo Silva is on the ball, and he was held up unfairly by Allen. Well, unfairly in the opinion of the only man in the stadium with a whistle. There are lots without whistles who didn't agree with him. Ruben Dias coming forward. John Stones just inside the Everton half of the field. Goes square again to Rodri, turns and accelerates over the halfway line. But the Everton cover is back in position. Everybody knows their jobs here. And Nathan Holgate's job is just to thump one down the field for Richarlison to chase. Laporte lets it bounce, decides against the back pass and turns instead away towards the touchline. He just had a couple of metres start on Richarlison and was able to do that. Ruben Dias has the ball for Manchester City. It is now a familiar pattern. The game is set in this style, with Manchester City asking questions and Everton so far finding answers. 0-0. Crossed in by Cancelo, really good clearance by Keane. Cross hit with some pace. Stones, Mahrez now on the field with a chance to run at John Joe Kenny and Demarai Gray. Instead plays it back to Stones, out wide to De Bruyne. Here's Mahrez again, once more confronted by Kenny. Again he sweeps it square. This time Laporte, 10 metres outside the penalty area. Out to Bernardo Silva on the left hand side, driven in low, bit of a deflection. Foden's in there and Manchester City have taken the lead. Phil Foden has poached a goal with 9 minutes left to play. There was an unfortunate break of the ball from Everton's point of view. Phil Foden was alive to it, to snap up his 10th goal of the season, and it may just be the most important goal so far of the season for Phil Foden and Manchester City.
That's an unbelievable bad bit of luck there for Everton. They've been defending so well, and it was Bernardo, he got the ball out wide, he ran at his man, it looked like he was going to put it in. Coleman stuck with him, it took a big wicked deflection, I think it was off Holgate, and went into the path of Phil Foden. His first touch was exquisite, controlled the ball where he really shouldn't have expected it to come, and it's a really tidy finish, but so unfortunate. They've not made that goal, that was fortunate. But still, Phil Foden, fox in the box, we've heard it so many times, he's got an eye for goal, and that could be a really important goal for Phil Foden.
Scored 3 times in his last 4 games now, Phil Foden. But his reaction to the deflection was so sharp. I mean, it was very, very unlucky from Holgate's point of view, and it just wrong-footed Michael Keane waiting behind him, caught him on his heels. Foden wasn't on his heels. He pounced on it immediately, as you say, very sure-footed first touch, and then a cool head just to almost walk the ball into the net from close range. Unlucky Everton expert Phil Foden.
Yeah, and also I think it took 2 deflections. It first hit Holgate and then it came off Keane, which really wrong-footed any other defender expecting the roll of the ball. And Phil Foden was in the right place at the right time, and he had the wits about him to get his first touch right and finish a shot pretty easy, the chance in the end.
Manchester City have not dropped a single point for a winning position yet this season. They've won all 19 matches in which they've scored first so far. Everton's powers of recovery have actually been among the better in the Premier League. considering their position, but then they've been in losing positions more than they'd like to be, and they're in a losing position again here with the clock running down, and Manchester City threatening to double their lead at the top of the table to 6 points, and Everton would be left hovering just a point ahead of Burnley in the bottom three. But here's Richarlison coming forward into the penalty area. Edison comes out to meet him and smothers it. Appeals for handball against Rodri. Big appeals from those on the Gladys Street. Referee has not given it. He's waved play on. Dele Alli has got the ball. It will be being checked. Damari Gray has it. Back out to Kenny on the left-hand side. And now an offside flag's been given, and that will be the opportunity for the VAR, who is Chris Kavanagh, to report to Paul Tierney as to whether it was a handball.
Ooh, it's close.
Rodri.
It's close. Again, I think it's one of them shirt line with the sleeve. His arm's out there. I just don't know whether it's below that shirt line.
Ball reared up off the turf. He tried to chest it down. The control came somewhere between his arm and his chest, and where may well determine the outcome of this game.
I think it's more arm than it is shirt. I'm going to be honest. I think it's more arm of Rodri than his shirt. I think this is going to be overturned and it's going to be a penalty if he gets to look at the screen.
It's the sponsor's badge on the shirt, which is the line really which the VARs look at now. Was it above or below?
I thought it was below the sleeve. I've got to be honest, Clive. Just looking at that replay 3 or 4 times, it looks like the spin of the ball, and his arm went out as well. It wasn't like it was by his body. His arm went out. Well, I'll be surprised if Paul Tierney doesn't look at this or isn't advised to look at this again by VAR.
I mean, whether you like or hate VAR, he's given the offside, it's not a penalty. I mean, the offside happened afterwards. That's not why it's not a penalty. The VAR has decided there is no need for Paul Tierney to go and look at the monitor.
And I think this is why. I think this is why you hear clubs talk about. I mean, it looks like it's on flesh rather than sleeve to me, and this is why the VAR is not being interpreted right, and the big clubs get the decisions. And I think that's the Manchester City being a big club and getting a decision going in their favour.
It's interesting, you know, when you look around the European leagues, there's a handball penalty given about once every 8 or 9 games in Spain and Italy. It's about the same, a little bit more, about 9 or 10 in the Champions League. In the Premier League this season, it's 1 every 18 games.
Wow.
We have, and to be honest, I think it's a good move. I think too many handballs have been given in recent years, but we have become a little bit more lenient towards handball decisions in this country, a bit more forgiving if we feel it's accidental.
Yeah, that wasn't accidental. His arm went out towards the ball.
Yellow card for Edison for wasting time, incidentally.
I think about 95% of this crowd at Goodison would agree with me as well.
Anwar El Ghazi is about to come on for Everton. He's only had 10 minutes in a royal blue shirt since Rafa Benitez brought him here on loan from Aston Villa, but the Dutch winger is imminent, and he will now come on for Alex Iwobi. Well, it's Everton 0, Manchester City 1. We've got 3 minutes plus added time to play, but we've got another talking point. Don't forget, game day, your verdict this evening with Bay and Gabby. 03717 22 3344 is the number to have your say on national radio. As always, plenty to talk about, not least the announcement from Chelsea that Roman Abramovich is on his way out of the club. But now we've got a big handball call to discuss from this game. Coleman with a header for Everton. Decore trying to win it back. Foden and Coleman getting involved. Has got very, very tetchy out there. An afternoon, an evening I should say, which began with everybody showing a unified symbol of support for the fighters in Ukraine. Everton players came out draped in Ukrainian flags. Manchester City players wearing shirts with a Ukrainian flag emblazoned on them, and no war is the slogan. But that united front has to be suspended during the course of a football match. The 2 Ukrainian internationals have stayed on the bench tonight. Foden looking for a free kick on the edge of the Everton penalty area, not going to get it. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think Paul Tierney missed something there. Coleman using all his experience. He kind of got his arm and his body and grabbed hold of Phil Foden's arm, and Phil Foden wasn't happy about it, and in the end he ended up picking up a yellow card.
Keane going long towards Damari Gray, just couldn't quite take it in his stride, but he's kept it in on the touchline. Chance for him to run at Foden and Cancelo, instead plays it back to Coleman, back out to Gray, who's been a real hit at Everton this season, now attacking the edge of the penalty area, trying to find a cross, drives it against Foden, and it's a corner kick.
Yeah, good defended by Cancelo. I think you look at the final goal that was conceded against Tottenham last week, and Cancelo doesn't get tight enough, doesn't stop the cross, ends up going in the cross, and it's a simple goal for Tottenham. He got tight enough and stopped the cross. They've got to defend this corner now.
They've defended set pieces so well this season. Taken by Gray. Headers by Ruben Diaz is not a very good one, but it's bounced for Rodri. He has a bit of a hack at it. Gabriel Jesus can't clear his lines. Dele Alli bumps into Rodri, but the ball falls for Riyad Mahrez just to try to calm things down. Rodri again. Mahrez on the touchline. Rodri going long this time, not very Manchester City, that ball. Keane's there. Rodri's got it again, but he's shimmed that one. Found Foden. Laporte on the halfway line. Bernardo Silva comes looking for the ball. So, 90 minutes are up. We're going to have 5 added minutes.
Yeah, I can see that. The stoppers here is looking at the handball, the goal, 2 yellow cards.
Manchester City 5 minutes away from victory. Phil Foden's late goal is the difference here. That and the fact that they have pushed and pressed for a goal throughout this second half. Everton were a match for them in the first period, but in this second half Manchester City have grown in authority, and they've looked more and more like scoring, but the goal when it came from a very unlucky deflection or two, and Phil Foden gobbled up the chance that came. Pickford goes long, seeking out El Ghazi, hasn't quite got that right, Jordan Pickford, and it actually bounces through to his opposite number, Ederson, at the other end.
Well, when you sit deep and you have a low block like this against a team like Manchester City, you need certain players to play well. Your 2 central defenders, your back 4, that unit has to be solid, hasn't got to make any mistakes, and you need your goalkeeper to step up, and Jordan Pickford and that back 4 have been superb. The goal, very fortuitous for Manchester City, but all in all, the players that you need to play well in these situations have played well.
Holgate with an interception on the edge of his own penalty area. Ali with a smart turn wins a free kick from Foden. Taken short to Allen, goes back to Pickford. He's a real weapon in these situations when it's desperate, Jordan Pickford, because he can eat the whole field up with one swing of his left foot. He's actually gone short to Keane, having said that. He goes back to Holgate. And now forward to Decore. Here's Allen. Decore again, but he's midway inside his own half of the field. Switches it to Michael Keane. John Joe Kenny coming forward now over the halfway line for Everton. Just tries to clip it forward towards El Ghazi, but Diaz is in the way. El Ghazi has run it back from Stones, who's made a mistake. El Ghazi. Ali just outside the penalty area for Everton. Rolls it to Damari Gray. Sets up Mason Holgate, thought about a shot. Instead, lops it in towards El Ghazi. It's just a little bit too tall for him. Can't get his head to it. And Mahrez is able to bring it away for Manchester City. Guardiola very animated on the touchline. He knows how important this is. He knows how close it is.
Jesus is not on it enough. You know, he's just come off the bench. He needs more energy, more intensity in this press, trying to get across to try and pick up that clearance down the channel. He's done neither.
Allen and the ball for Everton over the halfway line, driven forward, controlled by Decore. Back out to El Ghazi on the touchline, and he was caught unaware by actually a clever pass from John Joe Kenny to him. El Ghazi's been penalised for a foul on Stones, and Manchester City will have a free kick, and John Stones is very unhappy and he's looking very, very sore.
Looks like he's done something to his hand. It looks like he may have broken his hand. I'm just looking at the reaction from Diaz. He doesn't look happy. He snapped his finger or dislocated it.
I mean, Everton.
Dele Alli's got to have a word with himself. He's got a broken finger and he's trying to move him off the pitch.
Yeah, Stones has got one foot on the pitch. Otherwise, Everton are arguing we can get on with this.
Yeah, but he's trying to move his foot off. I just think that's have a bit more class about you, Dele.
But it's going to be time added on by Portini. That much is clear. We've already had 3.5 of the allotted 5 minutes, but we're going to have a bit more of that. And the attention continues for John Stones. So, game day, your verdict coming with Faye and Gabby at the final whistle here. 03717 22 33 44. Just during this stoppage in play, it is an opportunity to talk about the talking point of the moment. The two Ukrainian players involved in this game, Oleg Zinchenko, who was born west of Kiev as a young player, was moved to Donetsk in the east to play in the Shakhtar Academy, and that's where the family found themselves in the middle of a war zone, and they fled from Moscow. Oleg's kicked around amateur leagues until he was signed by a Russian Premier League club. He's been in Manchester 6.5 years now. He was in St. Peter's Square on Thursday evening with his wife at a quiet vigil in support of efforts in Ukraine, while Vitaly Mykolenko is born from the south of Kiev, from Cherkasy, which is, I mean, you just got to Google that at the moment. It's an absolute war zone. And he was speaking to his family on the phone the other night and he could hardly hear them. So our thoughts with them. We're back in action here. It's 0-0. We've got added time to the added time because the 5 minutes are up. Edison's rolling about after a collision with Dele Alli, who went in a little bit strongly. It's a yellow card for Dele Alli. It's all ending in a rather acrimonious manner. Manchester City are seeing it through. John Stones hasn't come off, incidentally, but Edison is now down and in need of some treatment, and the Manchester City players are calling the medical team on, who are actually strolling down the touchline almost as if they felt as if their goalkeeper was just wasting time.
He was, yeah, but Dele Alli's playing into the hands, you know, just get there and put the brakes on, make him pick it up, and then we're playing football. Again, he's just eating up more time, and you might think, yeah, Paul Tierney's going to put on more time, but that can't continue to go on, and the game's been starting this last, 5 minutes of extra time at the end of the game.
Edison's holding his side, his right side. That's where the treatment is being applied to. Medical people are now on their haunches treating him down at the Gladys Street end of Goodison Park. So it's a rather strange ending to what has been a very exciting, compelling, engaging match. Say very close in the first half when Everton were at their best. Manchester City have grown as a force as the half has gone on. Pokes that goal through Phil Foden in the closing minutes. And when the 5 minutes was added on, it looked as if it would be an exciting moment. We're just getting some replays of the big handball appeal against Rodri, and the more you look at it, the more like handball it looks.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that Paul Tierney wasn't advised. And listen, that's not down to Paul Tierney. He's made his call. He didn't think it was handball. But when you look at the VAR, and Christo Cabana has looked at this from different angles time and time again, and he has not advised Paul Tierney that he's made a mistake.
And so the penalty wasn't given. Edison has recovered sufficiently to take the free kick and belt it down into the Everton half of the field. Seamus Coleman's back there with a header. Decore has lost it. Gabriel Jesus is on the ball now in an attacking position down in the corner in front of the Manchester City travelling fans. Levered off the ball by Decore. Decision has gone Everton's way. It is a throw-in. We've already had another 2.5 minutes of stoppage time added on. We've no idea how much more time there is to come. It's not very much, clearly.
It can't be.
And Manchester City is still on the attack. Ali back there has managed to dispossess De Bruyne, but Cancelo is there. Decore heads it forward. Stones rises well. Thumped forward by Keane. One for Richarlison to chase. Ruben Diaz has to deal with it and does. He lofts it high back into the Everton half as an offside flag up against Riyad Mahrez. So there is no, that's it. It's been a champion display in many ways from Manchester City. They've had to work so hard for the 3 points that take them 6 clear of Liverpool again at the top of the table. Everton made sure of that. Everton was so competitive, so focused, so well organised, and they mixed sapphire and steel in the first half of this game. Their press was strong and aggressive, but they passed the ball well and had their moments in attacking positions. Second half was a different story. More and more Manchester City came forward, more and more they managed to stretch the cover and find gaps. The chances started to appear, but the key chance, the crucial moment in the game, came with the help of one, maybe two very unfortunate deflections of Holgate and Keane, and there was Phil Foden to snap up the chance that came his way and win the game. The other big talking point will be a handball appeal in the latter stages, which Rodri survived when Everton was sure they should have had a penalty. Everton remained just a point above the bottom three, just ahead of Burnley, and Manchester City goes 6 points clear at the top. Final score at Goodison Park, Everton 0, Manchester City 1.